sensational.
Comment and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Well, I didn't really say this when the movie came out, but as I get older and I watch, I would be like, yeah, they're right. They're right. Because Jenny was not a good girl. She did all sorts of foul stuff, even though Forrest always was in it down for her. But she put him in the friend zone. She should have been with Forrest the whole time. But he was in the friend zone and she just lived her life and got ran through by many guys.
Here's who I think are the absolute worst, most soul-crushingly terrible, pit of despair belonging, bottom-feeder movie villains of all time.
Who's the worst villain in cinematic history? It's Jenny from Forrest Gump. I said what I said. Forrest Gump is a cinematic masterpiece, a wonderful story, but I would say that Thanos or the Joker has not put our lead character through as much trauma as Jenny has put Forrest through. Let's dive into it. Childhood. She gives him a bus seat. They was like peas and carrots, but she knew that. She was very aware of Forrest's feelings and understood that he was different. Saying is, from the beginning, she puts Forrest in the friend zone. Then when we get into young adulthood, anytime she finds herself in any trouble, what does she do? She writes Forrest a little letter so he can show up and fix it. He got in trouble for the pictures in the magazine and she's singing at that bar dealing with some handsy customers. Oh, how do you think Forrest knew where she was? Probably because there was a letter saying, hey, Forrest, I'm over here. Guy's a war hero. What does she do? Takes his medal. Oh, yeah, she's in a bad relationship. Wants to make sure that bad relationship guy knows that she could call Forrest at any time, but she's not leaving that bad relationship. No, she just wants to make sure she keeps a war hero and her medal in her back pocket, just in case it gets too bad, she can call her man. Continues to string him along for a couple more years, and then shows up right after his mama passes away, because you know Mrs. Gump wasn't going to put up with that. Out here making some good money, hanging out with Lieutenant Dan. She shows back up. He's emotionally fragile. She shows back up, does a one-night crawl through the window, and then disappears again. Goes out, makes more of a name for himself. Then she writes him another letter. Hey, come see me now that you have more money, now that you're in Forbes magazine. Surprise, surprise, I have a baby, and you're his daddy. Haley Joel Osment don't look nothing like Tom Hanks. I know that you've been deeply in love with me forever. I kind of need some health insurance. How about you wife me up now? Named him Forrest, just like his daddy. I may not be a smart man, but I know what a setup is. All that little hussying around and all the free love that you was giving out, all of a sudden the one night you hang out with Forrest, that's when you get knocked up. Okay. And I'm sick. Give me the life that you've always wanted to give me, Forrest. He's out here stuck in a Rick Grimes situation. He's taking a kid that might be his, might not be his. He don't know. We all know the answer. But he's in a position now to where this kid stands to inherit all of Forrest's money. Zero effort. Jenny, worst person in the world. Rethink of this. Maybe Lieutenant Dan is actually the worst person because that's Forrest's boy, Forrest's friend, and he should be able, him and the little lady that he shows up to the wedding with, should be able to go, hey, look, Forrest, like, I need to talk to you for a minute. I'm not saying it is or it ain't, but before you sign some papers, maybe we have a little, DNA test done.
The movie villain, and the actual villain. The movie. There is no, set villain in this movie, but this bitch is the actual villain. Jenny is the worst human being in the Forrest Gump movie. All she did was play and use Forrest to her advantage, and Jenny really wasn't even fucking with Forrest until she was about to die. At first, Forrest and Jenny were peas and carrots, and of course she was being sexually abused by her father. That is made very apparent in the movie. I caught that this time, because y'all got mad at me for Eve's Bayou, but I caught it this time. And then when Jenny grew up, she grew up to basically be a hoe. She was the ultimate city girl, living her best life, did whatever the hell she wanted to do. She got caught up in the hippie movement. I'm surprised she didn't get murdered by the Mansons in the movie. But she was doing whatever she wanted to do, and all she really did was play with Forrest's feelings. She knew Forrest was nice and dumb and basically just kept playing with him. And every time she got her dumbass self into trouble, he came to bail her out every time. Because Forrest wasn't the smartest guy, but damn, Forrest had them hands. He beat the shit out of like 3 dudes for her. He was trying to grab you, Jedi. And then when she finally got wore out from the life she was living, she came back to live with Forrest for a few months, slept in that man's bed, ate his food, and fucked his little mentally challenged brains out. And then she was gone, out of his life again. Jedi. And she was finna stay gone, but Forrest just felt like Ruddig and decided he was gonna run across America for like 3 years straight as she saw him on TV and was like, hey, let me go cut and get in contact with my friend Forrest. And she contacted him and he came over and she apologized for how she played him and how she, dogged him throughout the whole movie. And then she wanna drop a bombshell on this nigga that he has a kid. And to be completely honest, I don't even think the kid is actually Forrest. I don't think she knows who the father is. I felt like she just wanted the dad to be Forrest because she knew he was the best one for the child. And didn't want to marry him until she knew she was about to die. I think like she was like one of the first people to actually catch the AIDS virus. And she caught it and she died. Jenny was the worst person in this movie.
Let's dive a little deeper into why Jenny is the villain in Forrest Gump. All right, everyone remember this scene? Forrest returns from war. He's a hero. And this is his big moment.
Forest Gump. Forest Gump.
Now, as sweet as it may seem, this moment where Jenny comes in front of the thousands of people and they cheer and it's sweet, kind of made it all about her, don't you think? Could have given Forrest his big moment, but I don't know, kind of made it all about her. He then goes on to give her his war medal.
I want you to have this.
She proceeds to leave him. Again, it's not until we find out that Jenny has AIDS does she come back for Forrest. Now look, I'm not discounting she had a tough childhood, but she didn't have to treat Forrest like that.
Jenny Gump is truly the worst person in movie history. Simply put, she is a villain. While Forrest is off fighting a war, Jenny's out in Hollywood partying, doing drugs, living the life, and not once did she think about her best friend, Forrest Gump. Jenny then comes back when she knows she's sick and dying and done partying, only to make sweet love to Forrest so she could get pregnant. Then she leaves, of course not before turning down his marriage proposal, which leads Forrest to being so hurt and filled with rage, he ends up running for 3 years straight. I'm just gonna skip over the whole part where she comes back knowing she's sick with an incurable disease. I can't be the only one that sees that Jenny only came back when she sees Forrest is now famous from the run and also finds out that he's a millionaire from his early investment in Apple computers. I know a lot of you guys out there are thinking, gold digger, right? Tendencies is there. I see it too. Okay, yes, I know she gives him Forrest Jr., but if she would have just stayed and loved him from the start, they could have spent some amazing years together. Instead, Forrest Gump was dealt years of heartache thanks to Jenny, the greatest movie villain of all time.
The most evil villain in any of the movies that you've seen. Jenny from Forrest Gump.
How could you say that?
She's the most evil character
That's
in
interesting.
This,
okay,
this
prove it to me.
dumb
I never
woman,
liked her.
Think about this. Forrest is chasing after Jenny in elementary school, then it goes to high school, they go to college. She says no, Forrest. The entirety of his life, he's chasing after this woman. And then
One day, I got a letter from Jenny. She saw me on TV.
he's rich and she's dying. And then she finally comes around to it.
It's
If
even
there's
worse
not
than
a
that.
more
Then she
toxic
allows
thing-
him to meet his son,
His
of which
son.
the namesake.
Yeah.
The Sixth Sense kid.
And she kept his son
I
from
see
him
dead
for
people.
that many years. I cannot think of a more evil villain in a movie than Jenny from Forrest Gump.
Bye, Felicia.
Be the best you can be. Love your family, love your friends. Spread love, not violence, not this virus. As always, peace.